right, we're live, and of course, Red Squirrel is here. Oi, oi. He's always first. I mean, my theory is that there's more than one Red Squirrel. It's like a whole, team of guys, because there's no way one person can watch all this content. It just seems inhuman.
I think Squirrel's got an army of him, just an army of clones that go around watching all the streams.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I forgot to tweet this out, so I'm going to go ahead and say we're live with Money Gang Crypto. Everybody watching, this is Money Gang Crypto. If you don't already know, you should know. You should be subscribed. He's been around for a while. Always a pleasure. What's going on with you, man? I'm just tweeting this out, getting everyone in here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. It's good to be back on as well. And life's good, man. We've had that cheeky little hex pump, which is always a bit fun. We were just saying in the room, a little cheeky. It's funny because the psychology of human beings is hilarious to me, right? Like the minute that you start to see a pump, everyone's coming back in. We're talking about kind of, bullish signs, and when the haters start talking about it again, then it's likely that we're pumping again. So it's good to see, especially not even V3 is not even out yet, right? And PulseChain isn't mainnet hasn't been released just yet. And so if we're already having a bit of a pump, what stops us from seeing that kind of 20-cent mark for Hex when PulseChain comes out, or even more?
We already know what's possible, right? The road has already been paved at least to 50 cents. So it shouldn't even be surprising to get back up to 50 cents. I think we can maybe tap it. I don't think we're going to have new all-time highs for a while. That's just my theory, but it is wonderful to see how just a little measly old double 100% rise in Hex just reunites everybody again. For the most part, the haters have either crawled away or come running back to Hex begging for forgiveness. I always find that pretty funny. But, hey, Hex Kong, thank you for the super chat, man. But yeah, we're all just in much better spirits after a little pump. And we all deserve this, honestly. I've been holding through this brutal bear market, and I'm not going to pretend it was easy, right? 5 months of straight sideways and even ratcheting down 2 cents, 1.7. I was just like, I wouldn't even want to check on anything. I got so fed up and bored, really. But that's the thing. When you're bored, you can't get distracted. You can't lose sight of the mission. If you're bored, idle hand to the devil's playground, right? And you're going to fall. We saw a lot of people fall for shiny object syndrome, and it's going to continue happening. But I think that's just kind of a staple of, being newer into crypto, right? You start to have your bullshit radar starts to go off a lot more once you've been around for 5, 6, 7 years. How long have you been in crypto again?
2 years, not long enough.
Yeah. 2 years. Well, you're doing pretty all right, all things considered. Let me read this super chat real quick. Hippo character in tactical gear does flanking maneuver hand gestures. Thanks, man. I don't know why the Melon app just describes the sticker to me instead of actually showing it to me, but let's see. Purple Pirate, would you say that 3x or 4x from all-time high in the next bull run is a win for Hex? Well, that would be honestly a conservative estimate. I mean, you're talking like $2 Hex, $2.50. I would love to see $5. I mean, if I'm going conservative, maybe $2. If I'm going really, moon math, bull market, absolute euphoria, maybe even $10. Technically, a $10 Hex would be a 1,000x almost. Right? Like
you'd be looking at, I think 100,000x from the all-time low would be what, 560, and then from there about 200. Am I right in saying 200x? No,
I think you're about right. I think off the top of your head, that's pretty good. Guys, anything over a 10x, it can be life-changing money. Like we're so spoiled with 10,000 X's here and 1,000 X's that, even 100x is pretty rare. Not a whole lot of coins even did 100x in the last bull market, and people got rich off of those too. So be happy with whatever you get.
What was the lowest we got down to? It was 0.017 approximately, give or take.
Yeah,
we had a little bit of a wick down. So a 50x from there, which is kind of conservative from a bottom of a bull to bottom of a bear to top of a bull would be 85 cents to 120x is usually another 50 to 120x is what you see from the bottom of a bear. So if we're going off of that, we're looking at, and let's just do some moon math. Why not?
Yeah.
We're looking at 120. Yeah, you mentioned that $2 mark. Yeah, around that $2 mark, $2.10, and that's conservative for a lot of people. I think I lost your audio there, Coffee. I don't know if you've accidentally pressed mute.
I realized I was not on the Joe Rogan mic, so I had to switch it over real quick. Now my voice should sound much better for you guys. A little buttery, smooth, easy on the ears. But what I was saying is that the price is really a function of the amount of people we onboard at the end of the day. So we've all got a part to play in that. It could be, I mean, what are the chances of it breaking all-time highs? I'd say pretty high, but when it comes to how much over the top we're going to go, that's all just the amount of people we can get in. I mean, it's network effects, right? So that's what we're doing. Everybody that you tell about HEX, everyone you can educate about just a better DeFi product, it's going to help the price in the long run for sure. Yeah, bottom of bear market being higher than our current all-time high would be reasonable, correct? Yes. Bottom of the next bear market, yes. Yeah, see, people, we have these crazy run-ups and these crazy drawdowns, but as long as the drawdowns actually don't go below the previous all-time lows, then we're still, the rising tide is lifting all ships,
Yeah, it's a great analogy.
Purple Pirate says, then what's the lowest it could go after that pump of $4 top? Could easily go back to 20 cents, wouldn't you say? Well, I mean, we're talking about the next bottom at this point. Yeah, I mean,
what's a 90% dip from, if we said the all-time high was say $2, 90% dip would be what?
That's 20 cents. Yeah.
Yeah, 20 cents. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's pretty reasonable, right? But think about it, right? Even if you bought HEX at the absolute low of 1.7 cents and you held to the next low, you'd still make almost a 20x, between 10 15x. This is not possible in any other asset class, guys. You're in the right place at the right time. But so the title of this stream was Fundamental Factors on the Price of HEX. And I know there's a lot of near-term things that we need to take a look at coming up. Namely, in 2 more days, there's the CPI numbers coming out. I'm pretty sure they're going to be low. I'm not sure if you follow the consumer price index at all, but they changed the way that it's calculated so that they're basically excluding any data from the year 2021. They're only taking an average over the previous year, 2022. And I believe that this will, discounting the hyperinflationary environment that we had during COVID, we're going to have numbers that appear to be a lot lower. And of course, they can always mess with the numbers. The real numbers are probably always way higher than, the front that they put on. But I think this is going to be bullish. I think the markets, even the boomer stocks are going to, as I like to call them, they're going to price that in pretty quickly as well. And this might just fuel some more of kind of an extended, I don't know, I don't want to call it a bull trap, but kind of an extended rally that could lead us into the next bull market. However, it does seem pretty safe to say that the Federal Reserve is going to raise interest rates at least 2 more times, and that's going to put a damper on things until maybe mid-2024, after we see the effects of inflation start to leak and flow through the economy. Those are basically just 2 macro events you have to look forward to. And I don't know, Money Gang, are you going to play any kind of like swing trading on that? Like, I know a lot of people are really overanalyzing this.
Yeah, no. to be honest with you, I stay pretty calm. Like I have a very basic outline of what I want to do. Right, I want to sell in the bull run when everyone's going crazy. I want to accumulate in the bear and relax. And when we see some sideways action, if DCA in, that sounds so simplistic and it sounds so boring. But I'd rather my trades be very boring, that I'm not taking too much action. Just accumulating and trying to year by year grow the bags that I've got. So whether that be HEX, whether that be, for example, Hedron, Icosa, other things like that. When Pulse releases PulseChain and PulseX. So yeah, that for me is, and it sounds so boring. I know a lot of people are like that.
Everybody wants to hear, what's the trade? What do we do? Do we sell HEX at 10 cents and buy back at 3 cents? I mean, yeah, that sounds nice, but it's never going to play out exactly the way you want it. It might be good to have some price targets in the near term if you need, let's say, to take profit for the year, or maybe to try to make your money back when the Fed inevitably lowers rates. I know that's a common thing just because of how certain people are that the Fed will raise rates in the past. That's kind of why this is one of the very few times where I've been thinking, maybe there is a small short-term thing to be had. But at the end of the day, you're right. It's boring advice that sometimes I need to remind myself of. Just sit on your hands. Don't do anything. I mean, probably whatever I do to try to quote unquote time the market would end up in me losing money. It's happened time and time again. So,
and what's crazy about the last Fed meetup, right? Like the one in January where they did a 25 basis point increase, was my expectation, because of what had happened at previous meetups, was we're going to see a sentiment in the market that was going to be negative. Actually, because people predicted it was going to be 25 basis points, all the traders were getting ready for it to be 25 basis points. When it actually did happen that it was 25 basis points, the markets kind of went up. Like the sentiment was pretty positive. Obviously, during the meeting and leading up to the meeting, there was a bit of negative price action, but straight after the meeting, it was and the announcement by Jerome Powell that it was 25 basis points, there was positive price action for crypto. So I was like, okay, if you want to play those little trades, sure, but do it at your own risk.
Yeah, definitely do it at your own risk. Don't go saying old crypto coffee told you to lose all your money. Greetings from the Netherlands, Peter and Dennis. We got a couple guys from the Netherlands.
Love Holland, man. Have you been in Holland before?
Amsterdam only.
Only Amsterdam. There's some great places, man.
Utrecht, I love
it. Utrecht, Rotterdam as well. Great places. Very tall people as well. Extremely tall people.
Very tall people, yeah. You'd fit right in, but
yeah, man. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, a lot of people riding bikes everywhere, taking basically riding in the canals to get from place to place. Even it's very interesting. We don't have anything like that in the States. It's the cafes. They give you they give you the perfect menu of every food that you would want when you have the munchies, and it's just designed so well. Everything just works so well in the Netherlands, I feel like. Anyway, we talked a little bit about Icosa. And I'm wondering, what you think about the future of Icosa and Hedron as it relates to HEX. Are you more or less bullish on any particular one of those three right there?
Yeah, I like all three. I think that I do like Icosa a lot. Maybe because my bias is towards rounder numbers, and when I see that kind of towards that dollar mark as well, and I see how much I'm accumulating in yield.
Yeah.
That's just a personal bias.
It's a unit bias. It works for a lot of people. Something that's 50 cents is better than something that's 0.00000. Unfortunately, that COM token. I wish there was a few less zeros in that one. Me too. That's just my 2 cents.
I've not even minted it because I'm looking at the gas fee and I'm thinking, well, unless I've got a gazillion stakes, I'm not seeing the value for it just yet. But it's in the background. I can do it.
It's always claimable. It's just not, no rush, right, on that one. But
what I like
more fan of Icosa than Hedron.
Yeah, I mean, I like Hedron a lot as well. I have both staked, right? So. For those who don't know, my goal is, again, very simple, boring strategy. Wait till the bull run and sell, right? And sell some of it if I need to. This is an interesting dynamic, right? And then I've been thinking about this from a game theory perspective as well. When we come to the next bull run, are people going to be selling off their HEX as much as they did in the previous bull run, now that we have new assets that go derivatives around the HEX product? And then you think on top of that, PulseChain, fingers crossed, will likely be launched this year. And then, so where does the price action go? How much do people sell? What are they going to sell at that point?
Well, I think you just identified one of the beautiful things within the Hedron protocol is that the speculative stickiness that it offers to people that want to just play other games while they're staking their HEX, because maybe staking alone is just too boring, or a lot of people really like complexity, I find, even in crypto especially. People like to really dig in and read white papers and figure things out. We're the early adopters of crypto, so that means we happen to be a lot of kind of tinkerers as well, just kind of wanting to pull the hood back, see what's under there, start touching buttons and stuff. But Hedron and Icosa are a very safe way to do that. And there's also a lot of complexity that goes into it, which sometimes I even have to refresh myself on. Like there's 4 different mechanisms by which Hedron can get burned, and then that pipes back into the Icosa, and then the Icosa yield is derived from the daily amount of Hedron burned as well. It's all kind of crazy, and there's people that are kind of experts in that field, like Crypto Sloth, for example. But yeah, I love earning that as yield, and I think it's going to be one more thing that will offset sell pressure on the core asset of HEX as well. So yeah, I mean, if I could just sell Icosa the next bull cycle when Icosa peaks, and I could just keep my HEX staked and keep it making money for me. Let's say my Icosa was like way more than enough that I needed to survive. That's an option, and that might be an option for a lot of people. So that's very, very good for the price. It's a net positive. Plus, it just brings in more people. But oh yeah, what I wanted to say is that in the past, I believe it's today actually, there's essentially a supply shock coming to the Icosa protocol, right? All of everybody's initial 180-day stakes when they stake their Hedron or Icosa, today is the day that it's coming due. So if you're looking at the price chart of Icosa and wondering why is it getting absolutely annihilated, it's probably, here's the interesting thing. It's like people were selling off before the supply shock day, right? They were front running it. So they've already kind of sold what they were going to sell. And now we're in this limbo state waiting to see, are all those Icosa end stakers going to just simply restake, or are they going to also dump? So, we have to kind of look at the price chart and see, are we going to flatline here while all the stakers just simply decide to restake, or are we going to see even more downside? Either way, though, this is probably a buy the dip opportunity on Icosa if you're into that kind of thing, right? Crypto Sloth, you summoned me. Yeah, man. Everybody go like and subscribe to Crypto Sloth if you want to know what the hell we're talking about, because it really is a Rube Goldberg machine, man. Like I've got videos on it too, but if you want to go expert mode, go to Crypto Sloth.
He's really niched down into Hedron and Icosa. He's got a great tool as well. I believe is called. Let me just find it real quick. Can you type it into the chat, Sloth? Because I've forgotten it. I think it's looking to Hedron. It's either .win or .io. I can't remember it specifically. So just pop it into the chat. But he's got a really good tool, and also he talks a lot on a stream that I did with him, where he was talking about that is both Icosa and Hedron is. Icosa is about 50% off of the ceiling price, and then I think Hedron is about 90% off the ceiling price to HEX. So you could see some really interesting price activity when the bull market returns. I'm very bullish on both. I think they're fantastic.
I'll look into Hedron.com. I'm just pulling that page up right now. This is awesome. I've seen a lot of different tools, but I've never seen this particular one yet. So.
It's pretty good for like price prediction as well. You're putting in the T share at that point, and then it tells you kind of I think it's 25%, 50%, 90% off the ceiling price of HEX, and yeah, it's a great tool if you want to somewhat do some moon math future prediction of what Icosa and Hedron will be. I don't know if it's
I've got it up on the screen right now. Let's go to Icosa moon math. Let's just see, huh? So the ceiling price is the ceiling price. Basically, that's just how much HEX should Icosa be worth if you were going to go in through the actual protocol itself and send in your HSI and cash that out. I'm assuming that's what it means by ceiling price. And then what would it be if it was 25% off, 50, 75, or 90% off of the ceiling price? And that's, for people that don't know, that's the price level of Icosa that people tend to arbitrage back to over time. But when you see these dips, like we've seen a 50% off discount from the Icosa ceiling price, and people bought that back up, and every dip buyer kind of got rewarded. I'm looking at the price right now of Icosa itself. We're at 60 cents. But in the last couple of hours, where I would have expected a lot of big sellers to sell, it doesn't look like we're getting too much of that. Like we'll get the occasional big red candle. If you go on the 15-minute chart, it kind of paints things out a little better. But you could basically see you could almost identify every one of these candles as like an individual that's sold. Let me pull this up because it's pretty interesting. The ecosystem is so small right now that you can do some analysis just with your eyes that you probably couldn't in a more complicated market. So look at the 15-minute chart on Icosa right here. It's on the screen. All those big candles are probably just individuals that said, oh shit, I've got a lot of Icosa from this 180-day stake. dump, take profit. And that's fine because look at how little relatively it's been actually hurting the chart. There's only like 1, 2, 3, 4 giant candles that I can pick out as like individual whale dumpers. So, the more of those we can see, I guess the better it is, the closer we can kind of observe people to be done selling for Icosa. But yeah, so it's either a dip buying opportunity or it's just a sideways for a while until we get back up to that ceiling price, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with you completely on that. And it's amazing to see that I'm presuming that's the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th of this month, but to see it back over that $1 mark, which I think is, again, another psychological barrier, it's nice, man. Like, and this is, again, if you want to call it bear market / capitulation period, maybe running into the bull, we're seeing it above 1. What is it going to be in the bull market? Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic little play, and hopefully people don't have to sell off their HEX, or maybe they do want to sell off their HEX, but we might not see as much sell pressure during the next bull run. Fingers crossed. You never know.
Of course. Someone says Icosa's at a 66% discount. Can anybody help me out in the chat though? The actual day that the Icosa comes due, is that at 0 UTC today, or is that technically in the past? Because that really does kind of change things in the very, very short term. But I almost never really look at very, very short term things. It's just a mildly interesting fact that a bunch of Icosas coming out. Jerry, he wants me to talk about the moon again. Crypto Coffee Moon Minute. Yeah, do you
want to do some moon maths on those protocols? We can do.
No. What he's actually talking about is my moon conspiracy theories that we got into a couple of times, like whether or not we actually went there or not.
Do we want to talk about HARP weapons and the potential earthquakes in
worldwide right now?
There's a lot. By the way, it's trending on Twitter right now. If you go have a look, there's a hashtag HARP. For those of you that don't know what HARP is, it's kind of
Wikipedia is. It's basically like a field. It's in the United States somewhere. Watch us get banned for even talking about this. But
sorry.
Hey, I'll take the risk, guys. It's a public thing. It's public that in Alaska there is this high frequency active oral research program that they say they're doing one thing, but a lot of speculation has been projected their way that maybe they're up to some other potential experiments with things like changing the weather or things like, I've really basically just heard changing the ionosphere, stuff like that. But, when we start playing God, things get a little dicey at times. It's not always the best idea. But, hey,
I agree with you on that one.
Let's let those smart guys figure it out for us. I'm actually curious now. I'm just reading. Scientific instruments installed at the HARP Observatory can be used for physical processes. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Boring. Yeah, so what they're going to tell you on the website is probably not the juicy stuff. But so you think that's related to these earthquakes? Yeah. No comment. You don't want your SEC, or you don't want the government to bust your door down.
Yeah, exactly. It's very suspicious. Very suspicious. Just a few things that's going on. Turkey's relation with Sweden at the moment. Issues with NATO currently. Yeah, not too far away from. You got to remember, Turkey and Syria are very close to a country that's currently at war. That the states may or may not like. But anyway, don't let me get my tinfoil hat on and ruin the stream.
You're closer to all that than I am. I'm, geographically that is. But I hope for the best. I hope everybody can come to a resolution, and there's no need for any escalation on anybody's. There's no winners in war, right? That's what they say. The channel go puff. What does that mean? What does that mean, Finbear? What are you talking about? Harp and earthquake. Some
mad clouds in the sky. There's a lot of stuff going. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I don't want to jump on and be like tinfoil hat guy and ruin the stream. Go look it up yourself.
There's a lot we don't know, and There's a lot that. Did you hear they just shot down another UFO as well? Like not just the one in Alaska, but another one on top of that.
I have not. I've not
Dude,
heard that.
the government is shooting down aliens, and I want answers. I want answers.
And can someone explain to me as well? By the way, this Chinese spy balloon. Why was it in the air for so long with the greatest military in the world? The most expensive military in the world couldn't take it down for what, 2 days, something like that.
Do you think that was just kind of like a dick measuring contest to see who it was, like a game of chicken almost? Like, hey, we're gonna launch this really obvious spy balloon. Are you gonna shoot it down? Like, you want to try? You want to fuck with us? Let's see what see what happens. But
it's very interesting. Very
conveniently shot down. After it was done spying, right? On the Atlantic Ocean.
Wasn't it in like Montana or somewhere like that, or some? It was over some weird middle state.
It was drifting over basically the state where we allegedly keep all of our nukes or something. Allegedly. Allegedly.
Okay.
But hey, that's just unconfirmed rumor. Chinese spy balloon, bullish for HEX. Bullish for HEX.
HEX going up. Let's go. Green wicks. Let's go. Let's go China.
Yeah, everything is bullish no matter what. Crypto Coffee, we will do excursions to see UFO on the HEX cruise. Nice. That's cool. I want to go on that cruise. Let's if you're serious about that, I would love to see some UFOs. Have you ever seen a UFO in real life?
No, I don't.
All that means is just
maybe Stonehenge. Yeah, Stonehenge isn't too far away.
Stonehenge is pretty cool.
Salisbury. Yeah. It's a bit of a madness actually. Like when they have summer solstice, and quite an experience. If you've not been to the UK, or if you're planning to go to the UK and that's on, I'd highly recommend it. You'll meet some witches. You'll meet some really quirky people, mainly from Bristol. So half the Hexicans are from Bristol, so they're all a bit quirky anyways. But yeah, no, it is good. It's a kind of bit of a rave by some stones, and that happens all day, all night. So yeah, recommend it.
Nice. Yeah, I got to make my way out there. I'm overdue for a UK trip. I've got a lot of people to see out there. Aliens would buy HEX. I think they would. I firmly believe that HEX is probably the currency, interplanetary currency, basically. So it just seems like the most useful. I think they'd respect it. I think they would look at the code and be like, yeah, pretty good job, guys. If you showed them Bitcoin, they'd probably just keep moving. They probably wouldn't even want to talk to us.
No, they'd be like, that's super old technology. Why would I want that?
Like, Bitcoin. You were using that millennium ago. Went into 2012 and my dad passed after my dad passed, and it was super cloudy. Oh, to Stonehenge. Yeah. Cool, man. I want to go see it. It's one of those wonders of the world that nobody knows how those rocks were moved. People claim that it was able to, but it's also just like, if with modern technology, trying to move that level of rock, that heaviness, that it weighs so much, we probably couldn't even do it with the technology we have today. But then historians go ahead and say, oh, well, they just, put it on these rollers, and, they use logs. And it's like, when you have stones that heavy, logs just get crushed, so there's a lot of simple cop-out kind of answers for all those megalithic structures. Get some space cash into the liquidity pool. Yeah, that's right, cryptocurrency for sure. What if the balloon was a gift of new viruses? God damn it. You guys are going like straight doom and gloom right now.
I know. I knew that we set them off. I was like, I've set everyone off. Let's go.
Aliens wouldn't like the end staking fees. I feel like they would. I feel like aliens got pretty strong hands, You got to have diamond hands to be an alien. What if in that... Yeah, okay, never mind. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's HEX. That's right. Well, guys, really productive conversation here. But going back to what's happening now, like I mentioned, there's V3 right around the corner. There's the CPI numbers on the 14th. These things are very bullish, in my opinion. And it's just a matter of how bullish can we get before we get swatted down again by what I think is inevitably going to be the Fed and the rate hikes. But in my optimistic opinion, I think we've got till maybe even the end of March, maybe even sometime in April, to keep pumping, or at least to keep spirits up, because two things of good news are right around the corner. You've got testnet V3 launch, which they're fixing a bug. It's checkpointed. It's almost there. I imagine when they fix that bug, it would just be another day or two before it finished syncing. And yeah, of course, the CPI numbers, if those are lower than people expect, or if sometimes, like as we saw with the basis points, sometimes it's even if the numbers are exactly what we expect, but they're just lower, that's a good thing too. It's so weird with, what people expect versus reality. It's like things can be lower than expectations and the price can go the opposite way, or they can be lower than expectations and the price can go up. Like it's, there's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason sometimes. Any ideas if the bug is easy to fix? I have no idea, dude. It's pretty complicated. That's past my pay grade. For sure.
If you ask one of the Nordic girls, she'll probably know from the devs.
Yeah, we'll have a vid text the devs for us. Or the other one, KDP. Yeah, they're KDP, on top of it. Yeah. That's all you need to do. Follow those two. There's as quick to tell you information as almost Richard Hart himself. After a bug, there's always another bugger. Tea time, any update? Well, basically, no. There's a bug in testnet V3. If you haven't been paying attention, if you haven't followed Richard on Twitter, there's a bug in the syncing of the Aragon client specifically when it comes to PulseChain testnet V3. Any idea how long it'll take? I have no idea. I used to work in tech. I'd be the one in charge of asking people how long shit would take. And that's just it's basically just a job with no right or wrong answer. It's kind of an art form. What it ends up turning into is just like a linguistic art form of how to communicate the uncertainty to everybody in the proper way, because, the clients, the designers, everybody's going to experience things differently. But typically the bottleneck is always around development. And that's because they're the most important people in almost any project. There's a reason they get paid more than anyone else. They can do things that everybody can't do. They can speak the language of the machines. You know what I mean? It's like the sacred texts.
Until AI takes over, obviously.
That's not far away.
No, we're not far away at all.
Well, so Elon Musk was saying it's not about the AI itself, but it's about when AI starts creating its own AI. That's what we have to worry about. Because we can't control that. We can't control what they choose to make.
Then we're at the mercy of the T-800s,
Yeah.
Terminator style, Skynet's coming.
Well, I think it might even end up more like the Matrix, right? We'll just be all in little pods and used as fuel for these nanobots and everything.
Scary reality. Let's go.
You just got to wake up. You got to take the red pill. Come on.
There we go. Speak to Miguel about that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. These aliens better not call for one world government, lol. They could launch V3 without Aragon. They absolutely could. They absolutely could. But we want the best of the best over here. We want all the good stuff. And Aragon is a better geth, right? It's a better node software. Basically, the benefits of it are, well, allegedly it's faster syncing after the first time, right? It communicates with other nodes and allows them to sync faster and better. All this comes down to making things cheaper and faster and just easier to deploy at the end of the day. You can Google Aragon itself. Just look up Ethereum Aragon, ERIGON, and they'll tell you all the value props of using Aragon right on the homepage there. So, and RoboCop. Let's not forget RoboCop. Yeah,
and RoboCop. Yeah, great film.
Cheers, the original. I haven't even seen any besides the original. Is Shanghai update to ERC 20 on track for March? Good question. Well, that's the last I heard, dude. Crypto Kings. That's the last I heard. I'm going off an article I read a month ago that it was late March might be the date for the Shanghai update. Would there be any benefit to Richard to include that before mainnet? So we've actually pretty much gotten confirmation that the Shanghai update is not a dependency for PulseChain at all. I asked Richard that in the conference, and he said basically he didn't know. And then he asked the devs, and it's trickled down that it's essentially not a blocker when it comes to launching mainnet. So whatever they've done, they've already allowed for withdrawals, apparently, right? So nothing to worry about anymore. Am I saying that right?
I was quite interested in what was going on with the Shanghai upgrade, and to be honest, it's not looking good on Ethereum really. Like they were meant to be implementing proto-dank sharding, so it was going to be a form of like sharding that they were going to be able to do, and they're not able to implement that in the upgrade. Also, the withdrawals from the beacon chain, they've had to limit that as well. Yeah. Which, yeah, to me that's not great. You guys have talked about, hey, sacrificing for PulseChain. Well, imagine that you started staking and you couldn't get your stake out from your HEX stake because they have a certain amount of ETH that they're allowed to take out during the Shanghai upgrade. And bear in mind, most of these people had been staking before November, maybe before the all-time high for ETH. So yeah, it's not looking good if you're a staker on ETH.
Yeah, those guys want their money, and yeah, as far as I understand, like what's going on the Ethereum side of it, it's essentially arguing for what's going to be rolled into the Shanghai update. They're just fighting over. They know they have to basically get withdrawals out the door. They know they have to do that, but now they're also basically trying to figure out, should we try to include sharding? Or, like Money Gang mentioned, they're like, how much should we try to fit into one EIP and roll up into the same thing? And it's always really, really slow, right? It's always very slow. I would expect delays on that. Just know that it's not a dependency for PulseChain. And number two, that it's actually a very bearish thing for Ethereum. So whenever Shanghai does come out, that's just going to be one more bearish, fundamentally bearish price point on Ethereum. And it might take HEX down with it just a bit. But we do know HEX is uncorrelated, and that's statistically provable. I don't know if you've ever seen Whales Only. He's got actual, correlation diagrams of HEX and other altcoins to Bitcoin. And the correlation, although there is a correlation, obviously a correlation exists, it's lower than almost every other altcoin at least it was lower than every altcoin that they used in the comparison. It was something like less than 0.5, which if you know about correlations, they're positive or negative on a scale of 0 to 1. And if you're at 1, that means you're perfectly correlated. If ETH goes up 5%, HEX goes up exactly 5%. If ETH goes down 5%, it would go down exactly 5%. If they're uncorrelated at 0, that would just mean that HEX would not move at all if ETH went up 5%. If they're inversely correlated at -1, that would mean if ETH went up 5%, HEX would go down 5%. So that's correlations for you. Some stats 101. Hex Farmer, what's up? How you doing, Hex Farmer? Good to see you. Hexavore, Finbear's back. Domenico says, I deleted Twitter buying more HEX, and I'll open my eyes again in 2025. That's probably the best move you could possibly make. Props to you, bro.
Yes, great move.
Survive till 25.
I with Twitter, I think I use it like I use a scheduler essentially. So I'll schedule out tweets just to create content, but I'm not really going on just to see people going crazy and getting into massive big debates. On occasion, someone might spark my interest by messing around and commenting something pretty negative on one of my comments, and then I want to go back at them. But that's just for fun, really.
Yeah, I mean there's so much. It's so much fun to do that, and I used to engage a lot more in that when I was not so public. But now it's just like I find that the benefit versus detraction, basically, like the risk reward essentially is that if it's almost always a loss for me to engage in anybody that has less followers than me. And most of the time the people sending hate are just nobodies, people in their mom's basement or using their alternative account, and maybe they're drunk or something. So it's like you don't really gain too much these days by going on Twitter. And I really clean my Twitter up, man. Like, I don't know about you, but I've muted a lot of people. My Twitter, like if you're not adding any kind of value or at least just saying some positive, good things about HEX or whatever other stuff that I like, or if you're not educating me or, maybe sharing an interesting fact, or maybe you have an interesting lifestyle, like if there's nothing that I would, if there's nothing that you're offering to me, why would I bother following you? And it's not to say that if I'm not following you, I don't like you. there's a lot of you guys out there that I just don't really know yet, right? There's thousands and thousands of us, right? So, but yeah, it's a hard thing with Twitter, right? You got to clean it up, and because it can be a pretty dark place if you want to go down those rabbit holes.
100%.
If you do something, people will hate. Yep, true, facts. Big
Always.
facts.
You're never gonna help. You're never gonna make everyone appreciate you. You know, you're always gonna get some sort of hate. As long as people talking about you, whether that's love or hate, that's the most important thing. If it's complete silence, and the same with Hex, man. Like, that's part of the powerful part of the crypto itself, is that people either love it or hate it, and they're talking about it, and it's in the minds of people. And when it's going up, it's exceptional. You know, it's amazing, because the amount of tweets that get put out there. We trend on Twitter. We create a lot of momentum, communities, everything, and talking about it, being at the forefront, debating, being in there is the most important thing. If no one was talking about it, then, and we were irrelevant, then that's probably a net negative.
Yeah, man. The fact that there's 220 people listening to us talk right now, that's testament to it, right? And it's even higher, right? I mean, it's kind of this boring period where everyone's just waiting to see, is Hex going to break up or down? I think it's going to break up, by the way, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it's weird, because I was one of those people that I was always a people pleaser, right? I always just wanted to make everyone happy. And then I went through a lot of kind of personal growth in crypto in general. And after starting this YouTube channel and just not giving a fuck, basically. There's an art to not giving a fuck, or when you should decide to give a fuck, you know. My bag full of fucks is very small, so I have to give them out sparingly. You know, there's a shortage. You know, my fucks are very scarce. So basically that's how I live my life now. And I don't think I think it turns a lot of people off, quite frankly. Like, that's one of the hardest things about being public, is just all of the absorbing everyone's opinion. Because after you start to get 1,000 subscribers, maybe 5,000 subscribers, you know, if you're reading everybody's YouTube comments and everybody's DMs and, you know, all the people talking shit, it's going to ruin your whole day. Even if 10 people say a nice thing and one person says a bad thing, it's like, you're just going to be thinking about that all day. So you got to really just filter what you read, filter what you put your attention on, and just grow thicker skin, quite frankly. So that's been helpful for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of lucky as well. I've got a core team group of guys in my Telegram chat, and I would say that they're fundamentally like very important members. Red Squirrel being one of them, David James as well, great guy. Randy Oz, I think of off the top of my head. Loads Triple Alliance, a lot of guys who are very net positive. So it's like, oh, great, you know, I've got my little team. It's all good. I don't need to worry about anyone else. And guys like yourself as well, Matt, is like, yeah.
Thanks for the invite, by the way. I've never been invited anywhere.
Crypto Coffee, you're allowed in. You're like VIP, so you're more than welcome to come in.
I just think it's kind of fucked up, you know. I don't know if I want to join anymore, but it's okay. Thanks.
As long as you're an active member, obviously, you know. Otherwise,
you expect me to come in there and drop all my alpha for free, sir? No, you must pay me.
Otherwise, Rose might come in and kick you out, you know.
Exactly. Rose, that dirty girl. Yeah. Pete Swag says, "Copy, you're a phenomenal storyteller." That's actually a very good compliment. I appreciate that. We're all storytellers at the end of the day. It's kind of funny. It's YouTube. We say it's all about narrative memes. Crypto's all about narrative memes. That's true, but it's also about who can tell the best story about the value of their crypto. Who can, you know, and right now, Hex is winning for sure. I don't even do social media. I do YouTube. That's about it. I don't need negative people in my life. I cancel everyone negative from my view. Yeah. Good point, Hex Farmer. Good for you. I'm late to Hex. Invested in PulseX though. Appreciate your content. So far, I've invested $40 in Hex for 10 years. Hey man, that's a good YOLO. I know a lot of people that did that at the very beginning of Hex. They said, I'm just gonna put in $50, stake it for the maximum length. That $50 right now is about $5,000, and in 10 more years, like, who knows? It could be 500,000. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but your $40 in 10 years might be enough to buy you a car. It might not, call me crazy, but it might even be enough to buy you a house. 10 years is a long time.
There's a guy, Randy, he always talks about this in our group, and he's like, everything I purchase, I put 100x on it. So if I'm going around and I'm thinking about buying a new phone or whatever the heck it is, say a new phone is $1,000, I'd be like, yeah, I need to add a couple more zeros onto it, and that's what you're missing out on in the future. That's his viewpoint, and he was at the last bull run. He was a crypto multi-millionaire. So I take advice from guys like that.
Yeah, I like to listen to the people that have actually made it in crypto, myself included. So be careful out there, guys. There's obviously newcomers that have really figured it out. I'd say you're one of them. It's a matter of time. Patience will be rewarded, but a lot of new guys come in and they think they're going to be all that and hot shot day trader, or maybe they found the next big crypto, but the next big crypto is always going to be coming up every 2 weeks. You're always going to have the next best thing. So you really have to just filter, just be very decisive. I appreciate coffee and Money Gang to the moon and back. Thank you so much, Susie Q.
I see it, Susie Q.
We appreciate you too. Can we get a price prediction? Oh, you can get a price prediction.
Moon math, baby. Price prediction for HEX when we're talking next bull run? Or
the price of eggs.
Oh, the price of sure. I don't know. It's a massive thing in the States, right? Our price of eggs have gone up quite significantly. Why had the price of eggs gone up, by the way? Can someone explain this to me? Eggs not.
Haven't you heard? Eggs cause cancer. Eggs are the devil. Actually, eggs have demons in them, and if you eat them, you will become Satan himself.
Right, same like red meat, right? When they said about barbecuing red meat back in the day. Yeah, I remember.
It's funny. I've seen when people will post an article from 3 years ago and today, I'm for example, the New York Times posted an article eating 3 eggs a day can cure all these diseases. And then they just posted an article, that was in 2019, 2023, fast forward, eating just 3 eggs a day could increase your risk of cancer by, 40%. So it's you can basically just buy your studies. That's people say trust the science. It's have you actually looked into how the science is being performed? Did you read the abstract and see how they did the experiment or how they drew their conclusion from the data? Because you really have to these days. It's unfortunate, but I'm not saying all of science, but a lot of so-called science has been co-opted by big industries, by capitalistic interests that, for example, the Coca-Cola conspiracy that was proven to be true. This is one of those conspiracies that's out in the open, is that, the Coca-Cola company in the 1960s, maybe 70s, paid a bunch of scientists to basically come up with, falsify or, doctor their data so that it would appear that sugar was actually not very harmful for you. And in fact, it was fat that was the culprit, conveniently named fat as well. And so that just rung with people. Well, oh, fat makes you fat. Oh, okay. That's pretty common. Turns out you need to eat a high-fat diet and a low-sugar diet, whereas the original food pyramid was based entirely off of 6 to 11 servings of bread at the bottom as your daily carbs. You remember the old food pyramid, or did they?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, where they have a massive carb overload.
That much fucking bread for anybody. Just imagine, you wake up in the morning, you got your Fruit Loop cereal. That's 1 serving there. You got a muffin. You got your bagel. You can't even move by the middle of the day. I'd probably still be in bed.
It's insane. And you look around as well, we have a massive, and I know you guys got it as well, massive obesity problem, diabetes, heart related issues.
Yeah.
Not just, the cough vaccine, but also heart related issues due to, poor eating and not exercising enough, not getting enough exercise on a daily basis, and just overconsumption. And it's deliberate, right? People trying to sell you stuff all the time. McDonald's wants you to eat there all the time. And
I just wish it wasn't so fucking tasty, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. It is very tasty, but there's no the micronutrients in it is not good for you. Yeah. Unfortunately, you got to make good sacrifices.
Nah, I'll sacrifice a little. I'll sacrifice a few years of my life if I could eat Taco Bell.
Was it? It's really big in the States, right? A lot of people
Taco Bell. Oh yeah, it's famous for it's just basically everybody's go-to drunk food, or just absolute garbage. Just garbage, and notorious for destroying a lot of bathrooms as well.
I was gonna say, yeah, do you not get the run straight after eating it?
Oh
It's
yeah.
like if you
Oh yeah.
got a bit of constipation, sort it out with a bit of Taco Bell.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think I think plumbers and Taco Bell are probably in cahoots with each other. You know, they're like, let's keep this going, right?
It's a
We're
money
gonna
maker.
have
Let's
nothing
go.
to clean up, right? Hey, Money Gang, this guy also says you're a stud, so congratulations,
I
sir.
appreciate it, man. I'll take the stud status. Thank you, man.
X Farmer says, I have chickens, so I mint eggs for free. I love that. I mint eggs. You can tell you're in crypto. He mints his
100%.
own eggs. He interacts directly with the chicken and the mints his own rewards.
Oh, and I'm sure that you look at the color of the yolk is amazing, fresh, organic.
Yep. Brown eggs, not bleached, a little bit smaller. You know, when you get them at the grocery store, they're actually freakishly large compared to what a real egg should kind of look like.
Because you guys in the States, you bleach your eggs, right? Like,
well, yeah, I try to buy organic, you know, but yeah, I grew up on white bleached eggs, of course. I mean, I would like to think that it's the same for the most part. Eggs are still healthy regardless, but you know, if you can get real chickens or, you know, fresh, organic, free range eggs, yeah, they might cost you $20 nowadays, but they're going to have a lot more nutrition. They're going to be way better for you. Also, by the way, eggs are one of the healthiest foods on the planet. They're like one of nature's most perfect foods. So there's almost nothing wrong with eating eggs. I'd recommend that to everybody. I don't give financial advice, but I'll give nutritional advice. Eggs are good for you.
Very good.
Anyone telling you they're not, you got to wonder. It's like, okay, we've been eating eggs for literally years. Yeah, not an issue. Apparently, they aren't laying eggs because of GMO feed. Oh shit. Yeah, that makes sense. It's always it always goes down the pipeline, right? The circle of life. You know, we always have unintended consequences of every time we try to fix one issue. As far as nutrition goes, I think we just need to revert back to organic farming. More of us need to grow our own foods. It's really hard in cities, though. You know, I'm sure you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Not like we can just go in the backyard. It's like we don't even have a yard. You know.
And most of us don't have the skills, or we don't have the education on how to do it anyway. So there's a lot of convenience, and it is very convenient. You got to shop around the corner. It's all designed to be very convenient. But yeah, if you can, guys, like this is the thing. I've been losing a bit of weight. Went a bit crazy over Christmas period, and
we all.
I highly recommend it, guys. Most of you lads haven't got enough protein in your diet. You should be getting a decent amount of protein, and then the micronutrients as well. So if you can't get your micronutrients in, part of the reason why you're still hungry, sometimes overeating, is because you haven't got micronutrients within your diet. So take a multivitamin, take some vitamins if you've not got it, and get out and about. You know, walk for long distances. Go put a stream on and go for a walk.
So walking is actually good for bodybuilders as well. I mean, if you spend 2 hours in the gym and you walk for an hour afterwards, you're going to get to that shredded look that you're actually aiming for. But going back to nutrition, yeah, there are a couple of supplements everybody should probably be taking. Vitamin D, you know, what was it, 60, maybe even 90% of COVID deaths also showed lack of vitamin D, right? Conveniently, there were no advertisements for vitamin D on the TV, but yeah, also magnesium. There's a crazy high percentage. I don't remember the exact percentage of the whole population that's magnesium deficient. So get yourself a magnesium supplement from, you know, CVS or whatever, Walgreens, whatever you got. And that's going to be helpful too. I also take Athletic Greens. This is not a sponsored segment, but I really do take Athletic Greens, and it really does work. Is it expensive? Yes, it's about $150 to refill it, and it lasts you for maybe 3 months. You know, it comes out to about $50 a month, but you're getting all of your micronutrients, all of your microgreens, adaptogens, you know, mushrooms and things like that. Even you know, bacteria, probiotics, and things like that. It's everything, and it absorbs much better because it's in a powdered form, in a drinkable format rather than a gelatin capsule. So the absorption is much better. It's made in New Zealand. It's all natural, organic. It's, you know, the New Zealanders, they got it figured out, right? There's some healthy people over there. And it's also, I know it's widely, it's common for like podcasters to shill Athletic Greens, but it really does kind of work. I don't know. Have you ever tried those before?
I use a greens-based supplement. I can't remember what it is.
Something similar.
It might be very similar. Yeah. It has pretty much all the greens that you need in your diet, just in case you don't get enough greens in. Chuck it in a shake. be fine, or
It
put
doesn't
it
even
with
taste that
water and
bad
just
on
make
its own. It's got, kind of a nice taste. It's worth it. You know what I mean? Your health is really worth it if when it comes to getting your basic needs met. You're going to be so much more productive, naturally energetic. I'll even I'll even go out like drinking for a night, for example. Just wake up the next morning, take some athletic greens, go chill in the sauna, go for a workout, and then be totally back to normal. Zero hangover, just being really good to my body as much as I can, minus the drinking. But yeah, it's
We've
just
got
it's
our
great
vices.
for all. Yeah, we all casually do it. Unless you're Richard Hart, congratulations! Shout out to Richard. So
Yeah,
2
not been
months,
drinking.
2 months totally sober, which it's not like he had a drinking problem, but
I got a theory that Richard has not been on stream because he's getting jacked, and what he'll
I would
do
love
is
that.
when PulseChain launches, he'll just be in like great shape.
Dude, if Richard was in good shape, man, you couldn't say shit to him, dude. Like that's like the main thing you can make fun of him for is just like being kind of old and fat. And he says it all the time. He's like, I know I'm old and fat. But can you imagine if he just came back shredded, dude? Just fucking
just
alpha
jacked,
Chad of crypto.
jawline like no one could say shit as well, because most,
exactly.
with all due respect to all,
especially in crypto, you know how rare it is
founders,
to be like jacked in crypto too. Everyone that's like the hot, you got your Vitalik Buterins, like these aren't necessarily the epitome of health we're talking about here.
Vitalik looks like he's dying every day.
Poor guy. Someone give him a cheeseburger, man. No offense, but yeah, and there is something to be said for that too. Just being in a little bit better shape does give you kind of a respect from people that you can't really buy, right? It's the one thing money can't buy. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger used to say that. It's like a nice body. Yeah, I guess you can buy steroids, but you still got to put in work. You know what I mean? You still got to do it. Get off your ass, go to the gym. So it's just in our nature, right? We give respect to people that have shown feats worthy of respect.
Yeah. Definitely.
Richard did used to lift. Yeah, he did used to post deadlifting videos a couple times. Let's see. Finbear says, or you could drink some water and take activated charcoal before. But yeah, that makes sense. You could just kind of detox. Charcoal's for detoxing, essentially. Once PulseChain is out, he will do that. Yeah, I hope so. It's hard to do everything. Yeah, I know. No expectations of Richard's gains. Good beef is excellent nutrition. Don't be afraid of fat. Yeah, don't be afraid of fat. A high-fat diet is it's more slow-burning energy, whereas carbs, they burn fast. They'll give you energy, but you need to keep eating them throughout the day. And quite often, like the sugar that comes along with the carbs gets stored in your fat tissue as well. And it's ironic that carbs and sugar actually make you fat, and fat makes you skinny. So, I mean, it's not that simple, but 3-day-a-week OMAD fast. Never heard of that one.
Yeah, 1 meal a day.
Oh, 1 meal a day.
Yeah. So you select a time window. So anywhere between 4 to 7 p.m. usually. You have one big meal. The best advice I would say that's worked for me is you eat a big salad when you first break the fast. Then eat your proteins. Then any very good carbohydrates after that. So you kind of do it in this order. So big salad, your proteins, then maybe like sweet potatoes or some form of good carbs. And then if you want something that's sugary and sweet after all of that eating, then you can have something like that. Then stop eating and do it all again the following day. Keep yourself busy with some black coffee and lots of water, sparkling water if you need to. And yeah, guys, you'll see the pounds fly off, trust. And stay off as well. You'll feel good. Your mind will be so much more clear as well. I recommend OMAD.
And if you do all of this, then the price of HEX will also go up. So it's directly correlated to how Chad we are. And if the more of you that can be alpha Chads, the higher you're going to see those green candles. That's just a fact.
That's it. And you got summer coming up, guys, as well, right? We're on the 12th of February right now. You've got a good, it takes probably about 4 months to get into decent shape. You want to be ready for June. Most people, summer's kind of June, July. Hey, you don't need to focus on price action if you're thinking about getting into the gym and eating clean. And
don't be one of those guys. Don't be one of those guys that starts working on their summer body in like May or June when it's like already summer. And like, oh, I'm gonna go get in shape. It's like, bruh, not
It's too late.
Where were you in December, February, January? It's you got to work when no one else is. It's pretty true. If you look at most mammals, this is Hex Farmer. He says it's feasting the warm months and famine during the cold months. High fat intermittent fasting is actually very healthy. Yeah, I've heard a lot about intermittent fasting. I myself have tried to keep it within a window. I mean, I'm being pretty generous with my window, but it's basically just I'm not eating right when I wake up and I'm not eating right before I go to bed. Give myself maybe 2 or 3 hour buffer on each one. And even that, because if you ever notice, I mean, come on, guys. If you're like me, you've eaten right before bed. I get the late night munchies. You feel like shit because your body is wasting so much of that valuable sleep time processing your food, which, it should be using to repair your cells and to, get into that deep stage 4, 3, and 4 sleep, those deep delta waves and stuff. You're not going to get there if you're processing a bunch of shit that you just ate, 15 minutes earlier.
Good point.
Everyone's talking about OMAD.
Yeah, bro. Man. OMAD coming in. Everyone's no breakfast when fasting. Man, we could go down this. I know it's meant to be a crypto stream, but why not? Let's get into health because health and wealth are correlated, right? Let's be real. We're talking about 15
honestly, it's going to help you hold crypto better. It's going to help you if you take care. I've said this all the time. Eat, sleep, exercise. That trifecta is going to make you a better hodler, right? It's going to give you those diamond hands because you're not going to be as emotional. You're going to be grounded. You're going to wake up feeling good. You won't be depressed. You won't be anxious. You won't be easily swayed by people's bullshit on Twitter. It really all feeds back into each other. So, take care of your meat vehicle because it's going to make you better at life. You're just going to win harder and you're going to make more money, quite frankly. Yeah. And Richard will help Richard and his longevity law. Yeah. Richard, it's so ironic that, the people that want longevity is like Aubrey de Grey looking like Gandalf. And he's like, I think he's like not that old actually, but he looks kind of old. And I'm like, you're the longevity guy? Longevity. I'm sorry. Not longevity. Longevity. Meat vehicle. That's right. Take care of it, baby. You've only got one.
That's it.
One might be allergic to eggs and chicken. Oh, okay. Not me, luckily.
You can mix it up, Yeah, get on salmon. Salmon's going to be fantastic for you as well. There's plenty of great lean proteins you can take. Yeah.
Even have you ever heard of like these vegan bodybuilder types actually getting pretty jacked from a vegan diet too? I mean, apparently it's possible.
Yeah, I see a lot of them being able to do it. The discipline that you need to have personally for me, I'm not a big fan of veganism, but I know people that are into it, so I'm more power to them.
It seems way too hard to get all those nutrients that you need with a vegan diet, but from what I hear, it's possible if you're smart and you know what you're doing.
Yeah, agreed.
Food is addictive, hard to change habits of a lifetime. I agree, man. That's why I still eat Taco Bell. Self-control in your diet leads to self-control in emotions, finance, all parts of life. This is true, Igor. But, everything in moderation, including moderation, right? I like to have a little fun every now and then. I like to throw a little money in a shit coin every now and then, get wrecked, just to remind myself how to, choose the better way.
I think also, if you can give yourself a bit of a cheat day or maybe a cheat window, so maybe that's at once every 7 days, once every 10 days, and you line it all up for them. So maybe you're craving something, maybe it's donuts, maybe it's cinnamon buns, whatever the heck it is at that time. And you'll be like, right, okay, that day, I don't care. I don't need to mentally think about the calories I'm taking in. I don't need to care about my diet. I'm going to go crazy on that day. So you leave it all for that window and then you do it. You feel like shit afterwards. You get back on it and then you get ready for it again. So you go through these periods of kind of being able to get it out of your system. I recommend that. That's something that's worked for me in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're well qualified to actually give diet advice. It's the one part of SciVive that I'm not so sold on just because, it's like taking diet advice from, but hey, even the diet advice in SciVive is still pretty legit. Like it works, but I'd rather listen to,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, I'm going to post a bit of a transformation post, and I'll put it up probably summer this year.
Cool.
And it is scary, crazy. Some of you guys will think like you look good. There's no way that you've been fat before. I've been big, man. I've been overweight. I've been nearly 120 kilos, which is about 200. What's that? 250, nearly 260 pounds.
About times
and
2.2.
2.2.
Okay.
Yeah, so 120 times that by 2.2, 264 pounds to be specific.
Wow. Damn.
So
I cannot picture that at all.
I've been that heavy, man. So yeah, I definitely will. I think this is something that people need to think about as well. Again, it comes back to that emotional resilience that you do need in crypto. It all translates, right? So it's really, really important to get this right.
Sure, man. And if you can cut your weight in half, I think you can hold crypto. Like that's remarkable. I've never heard of anybody losing that much weight.
Yeah, I got down to, so I've been down to about 90 kilos. I'm probably hanging around 108 right now kilos. So what are we at? 264, 108 times that by 2.2, about 230, in the 230s. But I feel pretty good when I'm about 100 or 95 kilo, around that mark.
Oh, okay. I keep forgetting you're fucking like 6'4" because that actually makes so actually you weren't as fat as I was imagining, but you're still a little fat.
Yeah, that was I'm a big guy. It'll be interesting to meet people in person because I am a very tall guy. Not as tall as Hodl Dog though. I hear that he's one of the tallest Hexicans, and I hope he's okay, man. Because I saw there was a post in hospital, unfortunately.
Really, I didn't even know. Shit.
Yeah. Send guys on the stream. Send your regards to Hodl Dog right now. Go send him a message on Twitter because I know he's in hospital. So. Yeah.
I've got to look into that. Yeah, I'll send him some good vibes. Hopefully he's all right. Yeah, that guy's been here forever. So mad respect. Let's see. What else we got in the chat? Money Gang is a big boy. Yes, he is. MG the Chunk. What's it? Is that like is that slang? Is that like one of your UK words?
Yeah, chunky. If you say someone like a chunky monkey, it's like a big boy. Yeah.
Wow. Well, look, man, that's pretty cool. It's pretty impressive. I think like people like to see that kind of stuff too because they know it's possible, right? Like, oh, if you can do it, it's very inspiring. SAG for PulseX, didn't for PLS, have HEX, Hedron, and Icosa. Best strategy to get Pulse. Well, we've gotten this question before. Look, man, it's like there's probably going to be a dip in PLS over the 2 months, after launch. I personally would scale in with USDC. I'd like to keep my HEX because I believe in HEX and I think it's going to do very well. But if I was trying to acquire new PLS, I would just scale in with DCAing 2 months into the PulseChain launch because there's going to be a sell-off of people taking profit. Now, you might not ever get back to those prices from the sacrifice prices, but hey, if you can get in 2 or 3x over sacrifice prices, I would chalk that up as a win because it doesn't really matter when 1,000x from now. It's not going to matter too much. So what about you? You got any thoughts?
Yeah, I got a few things I could suggest. Obviously, there are going to be some faucets that you can get a hold of as well. FreePulse.io would be one of them that will be giving away free pulse from the very beginning, almost on the hour. But on top of that as well, I would say put in your limit orders on PulseX so that you can be purchasing, at a 2 to 3x from the sacrifice price. You can also put one in for the sacrifice price. In terms of bringing fiat into Pulse and PulseX, I don't know if it affects America. I don't know how far ahead he is, but OX Coast obviously is coming up with a stable coin that you can buy. It's basically a fiat on-ramp or off-ramp where you can deposit fiat and buy a stable coin and then be able to trade that for Pulse or PulseX as well.
Yeah, it's launching in America too. It's launching in the USA. So Antonio, go follow 0x Coast on Twitter, and he'll be coming out with the fiat on-ramp. It's already gotten approved in many different countries, but we're especially excited about the USA because it's particularly hard to get licenses there.
Extremely hard. Have you, Coffee? Have you heard of Tetra before?
No.
I would highly recommend looking into, and it'd be good to get him on a stream with you, a guy called Stu from Scotland, which is basically Tetra is basically a software that's being created specifically for PulseChain that will allow you, but also it can run on multiple different networks to automate any manual transaction on the blockchain. So like if you wanted to implement complex strategies, like say, for example, with liquid loans, the haunted strategy, which requires multiple steps without having to manually check and execute all the transactions when the market conditions fit, you could just do it automatically. It's a software that allows you to do that. It's a really innovative product. The contracts are fully immutable, no admin keys as well. So it's a really cool project that, obviously a lot of people are talking about new projects that are coming onto PulseChain, but this particular software allows you to buy at certain market conditions and just implement at that moment. So
what's their name on Twitter? Tetra.
If you go on the website, it's tetra.win is the website. So they have a few coins that will be coming out separate. I'm not really focused on that. I'm more focused on the actual software itself, because I think it's a bit of a game changer in order to automate strategies that you may be wanting to do on.
Okay, yeah. So they make them NFTs, or are you able to sell your strategies back and forth? Is that the deal?
I think you probably could, but it's more of an automation software. Like you essentially, if you wanted market conditions being met, so let's say, for example, you wanted to create a strategy where you had, say, your stable coin, and you wanted to purchase Pulse at the sacrifice price, and then when you had bought at the sacrifice price, you wanted it executed, and then you wanted to put it into a liquidity pool tied to PulseX or whatever it is, whatever specifically you want to do. You could automate all of that just through typing it in on the software itself. I know Red Squirrel knows a lot about it, and he's been talking highly about Tetra. And cool. Stu has some really good examples about it, but it's quite good for complex strategies.
Yeah, I'll look into that, and especially that might tie into people scaling into their DCAs into PLS too. So, but back to your question, Antonio. Other than scaling in, right? I mean, check out Tetra, check out Coast. But if you do have that HEX and you're one of these people, I know it's very common, right? People want to swap HEX for PLS in the pre-bridge, very, very danger zone. Like, be careful. But if you're gonna do that, you might want to consider setting a limit order at a very, very safe price. So whenever PulseChain launches, check out what's the price of HEX over on Ethereum, so that you have a rough guess for the estimate of the price of HEX in USD, and then compare that to how much PLS you'll get for that one HEX. And if the price is at around or under $0.0001 per PLS, you can just do some simple math on the back of a napkin, or just on your calculator, right, on your computer. Set your limit order at that very, very safe amount, just in case some idiot fat fingers and basically wicks the price down right into your limit order, because some people are going to do that. Some people are going to make crazy risky market orders. I feel bad sometimes too for people that might do that. Like, maybe they'll add an extra 0 or 2 onto the market order that they didn't expect to. Some people are going to make mistakes, and you could potentially take advantage of their mistakes if you make a smart, safe limit order. And again, what that means is going to change, because the price of HEX is going to be much different by the time PulseChain launches. So the way that you're going to estimate what a good deal is going to change based on the implied price of what HEX could potentially be. So I hope that makes sense. And that goes for everybody. Limit orders, but be very, very safe when you're doing it. Make sure if you're going to spend HEX on PLS, you better be getting a lot of PLS for that HEX. You better be getting the right ratio. And that's so subjective too, because the right ratio, there is no correct ratio. But you would hate to part with like $1,000 worth of HEX and then end up buying like $10 worth of PulseChain when all the dust settles. Then you kind of screwed yourself. You know what I mean?
Especially pre-bridge ratio trading as well.
That's the danger. Yeah. You could be saving up all your HEX, all your precious HEX, and maybe it's even worth like $10K, $10,000 by the time PulseChain launches. And then you could blow it all on like an insanely small amount of PLS if you're not careful and if you don't know what you're doing. So just take some time, do the math, be chill. And if you miss out on ratio trading, that's probably a good thing, to be honest.
Yeah, the RGS says in the chat, need to test limit orders on testnet. This is perfect time to try it out, particularly with V3 coming up. Get yourself familiar with the protocol, how it works. I think it's quite similar to 1inch. I might be wrong in saying that, but yeah.
It seems pretty similar. Yeah, it's got all the best parts of Uniswap plus limit orders, and it's Uniswap V2, which I really like. I enjoy. I kind of feel like the price pumps more on Uniswap V2 because there's symmetrical liquidity. You can't do these giant sell walls and giant buy walls, so you can't play as many games, right? So I almost think that's bullish, and that's one thing people don't talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we're at 1:15. You got anything you want to shill?
Hey man, I want to thank you for having me on your program again, man. Hey guys, if you like this kind of content and stuff, feel free to follow me or don't. It's up to you. Twitter.com. You can find me at MoneyGang Crypto. YouTube, MoneyGang Crypto as well. We're getting up there. We're gonna grow. We're gonna keep growing this year. I'm putting content out all the time, and yeah. If you want a crypto coffee, you're more than invited and welcome to the Telegram group chat. That's MoneyGang Cult Chat, MoneyGang Cult Chat on t.me/MoneyGang Cult Chat.
I feel a little butthurt, but maybe I'll get over it, and yeah, it'll be cool, man. Hey guys, go sign up for crypto.
Lost in the chat as well.
Yeah, exactly. All right, yeah, guys, what are you doing? Subscribe to MoneyGang Crypto. He gives crypto sermons live. He puts himself in a little priest outfit. It's pretty good. He's basically the Pope of Hex, guys. Go follow him.
I'll take the Pope of Hex.
I don't know if that's a good. I was gonna say I don't know if that's like a compliment though, depending on who you ask.
Maybe I should start like moving my strategy towards the Catholic Church and their sins. But yeah. We're preaching on.
He's a good Christian lad. Give the guy a subscribe.
That's it. Yeah, go give me a subscription if you want to. Feel free as well. And also to talk, you got hexpassiveincome.com, man. Like people, if you're not knowing what to do, you need some strategies. You need to learn about Hex and learn how the whole system works and much more. Go to that website straight away. Crypto Coffee's got some
if
great
you know nothing about crypto at all, or if you have a friend that you want to onboard into crypto, but you don't want to hold their hand for 8 hours, I'll do that for them, right? I've got all this pre-recorded video content. Takes you from knowing nothing, zero about crypto. I'll describe even the language, right? Like what is a whale? What is a smart contract? What does FOMO mean? What is like why is everybody talking about going to the moon? Like what is wrecked? Like what does that mean? Like if all this sounds like Greek to you, you're gonna it's probably the course for you, and it's extremely affordable. I'm not trying to gouge you like a lot of other crypto people are out there. I just want to make sure that if you're gonna buy the course, that means you're a little bit more serious about actually getting into crypto and getting into things like Hex. And you should want to invest a little bit of money into your own education. If you're serious about doing something. So I feel like it's a way to also kind of filter out people that are serious from people that aren't serious. But I've also had plenty of people gifted away to other friends and family, or you can even just buy the course and share it with like 10 of your friends for free. It's not like I'm watching you guys. It's not like I'm going in and checking like, oh, this guy shared it with this other IP address. I don't give a shit. Like you're just share it with as many people as you can, because at the end of the day, it's all about adoption and onboarding. The only reason it costs a little money is just due to the fact that you need to be willing to do that. If you're not willing to dish out $150, you're probably not ready to invest in general. And again, I know this is very closed off, very, very first world problems type of thing. But if you want a discount too, if it really is too much for you to afford, send me a DM. Maybe I'll be nice. Maybe I.
But guys, people don't appreciate something until they have to pay for it, right? It's just
people won't actually take it, right? They'll actually they're much more likely to complete the course if they paid for it, right? And take it seriously and listen. And again, for a lot of you guys, it's probably way too beginner level, but I like to focus on the beginner because that's where the new people come from.
I see JD Scorpio asking about my video intros. Yeah, I got too many copyright strikes for using Pump It Up. So that's why I've taken the intro down.
That was such a good intro.
It was a fantastic intro. And I was just like, oh, damn. Yeah, too many copyright. YouTube was like, knocking on the door, being like, "Yeah, we copyright strike you," and I was like, "Okay, I don't want to get my channel banned. Let's not do that." So sorry, guys.
That's such a good song, though. I wonder if they knew it would be like the theme song to crypto. You know, it's so perfect.
I love it.
Yeah. Buy the course. Yeah, if you love your friends and family, you'll buy my course. No, I'm just kidding. But thanks again, guys. Like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.